Hey everyone, Mark Hayward here. Thank you very much for joining me on the Absolute Business Mindset YouTube channel. Today we have a new guest who is Sabrina Osso, who's the founder and CEO of Osso Safe. But we go deep into her upbringing and about her violent upbringing that she experienced and her desire to get out of the family home. We talk about her computer science degree and her roles within tech support and corporate roles that she didn't enjoy at all, and the transition from those corporate roles into dance and the role of dance impacting her life and her enjoyment of life as well as business. She then started a company called Osso Safe, which is really an inspiring company, which is there that helps people's safety in work, life, and play. But it's more than that. It's about keeping men, women, and children safe in houses, whether it's tenants, whether it's abusive parents. So this is something that is super important for us all to listen to and enjoy. But I want you to listen to this. If you are experiencing some sort of abuse, or even if you suspect it, this is going to be an absolute game changer for you. So please enjoy the podcast. This is a wide ranging podcast about lots of different areas, including business and in life. If you are enjoying this, please do hit the like button, do hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon, and you will get all of those podcasts released to you, and you'll be notified when they're there. Thank you very much. This is the Absolute Business Mindset podcast, created and hosted by Mark Hayward. This podcast will interview entrepreneurs, business owners, and people in their careers. We will delve into their journey to success, key life milestones, to go deep into their area of expertise. Get ready to learn from others' successes and failures. Today we have Sabrina Osso, who is the founder and CEO of Osso Safe. Hello, Sabrina. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much, Mark, for having us.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining me. So we're going to talk through your journey to success. But as always, we start with the question. Podcast is called Absolute Business Mindset. What does business mindset mean to you?
Focusing on people and putting together problems or solutions to problems, and focusing on people, just focusing on people and resolving problems for those people. I would say that would be the best, for me anyway, absolute business mindset.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's go into your degree. So you did a computer science degree with Italian and maths. What made you choose those subjects?
Well, at the time, my focus was to get out of my house. And I read that computer science was a great way to get a degree. Well, it would be good for me to get a degree in computer science, so that way I can establish a job, if you will, and make money. Because I lived in a very crazy household. It was traumatic. I lived with violence. My father beat my mother on a regular basis, and my mother would abuse me. So, but at that time, my focus was all about have to. What do I have to do? Have to. And by the time I graduated and I was getting computer science jobs, I couldn't stand it. It was everything was a have to, everything was forced, so yeah. So I hope I answered the question. You asked me what made me do that was to get out of the house, really.
Okay, and your business is all about safety at work and safety at home, and we will go into that area. But just to sort of touch on some of those things, so you saw sort of computer science as your way out of your domestic environment.
Right.
What didn't you like about the jobs once you'd started them?
Well, no one told me, or us, I should say, as students, that um, it was just like corporate slavery. Like every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And I couldn't believe the bureaucracy. It was all about um, pleasing the executives, and or very ranking. Not everyone was treated the same, or treated fairly. And no one tells you that, at school as a student. You're just told, study, get a degree, get good grades, and then get your job and you'll be set. But no one tells you how grinding it is, and how political it gets, and how. So that's what I couldn't stand. And I realized after therapy, being in therapy, that I'm a dancer. I'm a dancer. So the corporate world was the opposite of that. So I really disliked it. I mean, I'm grateful that I know what I know about computers. Uh, and also my degree was in programming. And when I got out, I did I did tech support, which I did not study at all. I did a lot of tech support. I was responsible for about 200 users at the time, between 150, 250 users. So, and that was what I didn't study. And it was all about people, really. What's wrong with the computer, uh, everything from, well, the color of my mouse pad is not like so and so down the hall. Can you please make my mouse pad like so and so down the hall? To uh, taking computers out of the box, setting them up, putting them on the network, installing all of the software, so on and so forth. So yeah, no one tells you that as a student. So, and I found out the hard way.
And how long did you actually last doing those corporate tech support jobs for?
Oh, I did that for about 10 years. Yeah, a good 10 years after I graduated. But then I completely immersed and submerged myself in the dance world, which is also business. It's a different kind of business, I have to say. It's definitely business, just a different realm. And I had several jobs, several, like, all in the computer arena. Insurance, I was the tech support person for insurance, a chemical company, um, also more in health, uh, a Japanese American company that did a lot of construction and big projects overseas in Japan. And I was their tech support person. And so I just couldn't do it anymore.
That's understandable. So a job is not for everyone. I think you learn
Well,
that.
right. But I found, because I was going on these millionaire mind seminars, and for people to improve their life and to find their calling, if you will. And there's a lot of people unhappy at their jobs,
Yeah.
many. And these millionaire mind seminars are full of people trying to change their lives. So I definitely wasn't alone. And and that to me says that there's just too many unhappy people doing what they hate to do, but it's a paycheck. It's just a paycheck. And they have to provide for families, or they have elderly people to be responsible for. And I have to say, I think a lot of it, though, comes from not being in a good home. because when you live in that type of environment, like where you're always in urgent mode, in survival mode, and if you're seeing dad beat up mom or mom beat up dad, or if you're getting abused, or it's a combination of everything, how can you focus on what it is that you really want to do with your life?
Mm.
You can't. It's impossible. You're in a war zone. So I feel like anybody displaced, and I'm not saying everyone, but I would say most of those people, it's because home was not a safe place.
Mm. Mm.
So they had to what was forced, and maybe they wanted to be a dancer, an actor, a singer, a performer, an engineer, a doctor, or whatever it is, and they couldn't focus on that because they had to be in survival mode. So um yeah, so just as a comment, yeah, I would say um it's a shame, you know. We should be doing what we love to do, or at least like it.
Yeah,
If not love it, at least like it, you know. Otherwise life is very difficult for no reason, really.
absolutely. And I agree with you. Those sorts of webinars, seminars where people are saying follow your dreams, follow your ambitions, and a lot of people never do, sadly, because as you say, there's security in a paycheck, which being an entrepreneur is not as secure, and although much more rewarding, not everyone can actually make that step. So I would agree with that. But let's talk about your professional dancing and you as a teacher before we go into Osso Safe. We'll talk a lot about your business and what you do there. So how did you become a professional dancer teacher?
Yes, it was always in me, always. But I couldn't even think about it growing up. I couldn't think about it. I couldn't even mention it. So I had to kind of stifle myself and put it on the back burner. But I was going to therapy, and my therapist said, Sabrina, you're a dancer. You have to go dance. And at the time, I was heavy duty clubbing. I moved out and I was hitting the New York City scene, which was very heavy clubbing. And I loved it. I felt so free in the clubs. My favorite music is techno and tribal and um, trance, and I loved it. I loved the whole DJ scene, and I felt so free. I can't even tell you. I loved it, and my therapist said I could feel how happy you are dancing. Go train, go. And so I did. I was taking 12 classes a week. I was dancing. I was auditioning heavily. I was and I started late, but I took teachers that really propelled me, you know. And taking 12 classes a week is serious.
That's a
It's no
lot.
joke. Yes. It's, and my body was even transforming. I was always thin, but when you dance and ballet and jazz and tap and theater and Latin and lyrical, and I was taking everything, your body really changes and it becomes like a sculpture. And other people saw it too. And that's what dance does, you know. So and I was heavily auditioning, and it was grueling, though, I have to say. You have to be able to take rejection, and I was all over the tri-state area. I live in New Jersey, but I was born in New York City, and all of my training is in New York. And but it was great, though. I got to meet so many great people, Broadway, off Broadway, and you see how and I was auditioning for everything, Rockettes, even though I'm not tall, but they have a genre of dancers for the Rockettes where you're the core. and I was auditioning for everything and everything and anything under the sun. And like I said, I was taking 12 classes a week, um, all in New York. I would shuffle between 3 studios, Broadway Dance Center, Steps, and Alvin Ailey. And I didn't pigeonhole myself in any one style. You know, I made sure that I was a well-rounded dancer. And then I started writing my one-woman show, and then that goes into how I started my business. So I'll save that for later.
Yeah.
But oh yes, and then I was teaching dance. And I did that for 10 years, teaching dance, all ages, from pre-K all the way up to adult, high school, and college level adult. And yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I still dance. I still dance, and I incorporate that in my business for sure. And we could talk about that later. But um, yeah, I am a dancer. So
Fantastic. So one of the things you described yourself, we'll go into Osso Safe, and maybe it's a good segue now to just talk. So what made you start that business? What was the inspiration behind starting that business?
I started writing my one-woman show called Home Sweet Home a number of years ago, and and it's called Home Sweet Home. And I play different women being abused. She goes to her good place. That's where the dancing comes in. But then she's pulled back into the terror of violence. But the show ends really strong, really empowering. And I did a lot of research for that show because I wanted it to be educational. I wanted it to be empowering and informative. And I could not believe, Mark, the statistics that I was finding. Uh, like I knew how much home violence impacted me, but I didn't know how common it was, and how it just affects every facet of someone's life. And I said to myself, wow, I have to make this into a business, into a bona fide business with products and services. So that's what I did. And I kept asking myself the question, what did I need growing up? What is it that would have made a difference in my life and make it better in some capacity? So that's what I did. I created products and services that I think are very avant-garde, very progressive and unique. And I think that it's the direction of how real estate should go. So, and we could talk about that a little bit later, but uh, that's how dance kind of started, was the catalyst for Osso Safe, really, by this one woman show. Um, yeah, I hope I answered the question.
You did. Where did you perform your one woman show?
It was in, let's see, I started writing it. It was around 2010, no, 2008, 9, around there. So, and I performed it. What's great is that my show is, it has different styles of dance, and I have different monologues, and they go into the different styles of dance. So, and I performed different aspects of the show because all I had to do, like, let's say for um a certain venue, they needed an African piece, so I had that. Or another venue needed a musical theater piece, I had that. So I would extract pieces of it to perform for whatever venue, but then I did the show also in its entirety, so at different aspects of my life. uh and it was around 2000, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, 2009, 2010, between 2008 and 2010, I would say.
And you started this business, where you say that you want to make people safe at work, life, and in play. How do you So do you do online courses? Do you do product? You said you do products and services. So maybe just talk a little bit around what products and services that you actually provide.
Sure. It's a combination of, well, it's combining education and technology. And our core product is the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home certifications, really. And this is for properties, all properties, but we are focusing on landlords and tenants. So because that would be the path of least resistance. And we are saying basically, look, Mr. and Miss Landlord, hire us. We will get your property Osso Safe certified. What does that mean? They purchase the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home package, and it consists of a policy, a seminar, an app, and therapists assigned to the property. So we say with the policy, I, as a landlord, I promise to provide you a safe space for you to live. You, in turn, as my tenant, you promise to not act in any way, shape, or form abusively. Otherwise, you, the abuser only, gets immediately evicted from the premises. And we go into full knowledge knowing that that would be the consequences. So that way there's no surprises. You are held to a higher regard, a higher standard in an Osso Safe certified property. So that's the policy. The seminar is for new and existing tenants, and everybody gets educated on facts, statistics, warning signs, definitions of abuse, the difference between abuse and discipline, just to name a few items. And we educate both adults and children. So that's the Home Sweet Home seminar. Then the third component is an app. And this app will detect violent-like movements and captures them in real time, issuing alerts. So let's say a landlord has 10 units. They get an alert, let's say in unit 2 and in unit 10. Wow, I just saw you beat the crap out of her, or you just beat the crap out of him. This is grounds for eviction. And you know this because you went through the seminar, you signed the policy. So that's the app, and it's being updated right now. And then the fourth and final component are therapists assigned to the property. So this is a requirement. Once a month, you are required to check in with your therapist. And it's just as a preventative measure. Is anything looming? Do you feel like anything is really conflicting in your household? Just to give an example, well, yes, our son, daughter came home with really bad grades, or they were involved in a bullying situation. Um, we know that we're not going to beat our child. We're not going to verbally, physically, sexually abuse our child. Help us through this, because we are held to a higher regard, a higher standard in an Osso Safe certified property. So this is all on the preventative side. And we feel that this is how residency is going to move in this direction, making safety a required standard condition of residency. I hope I make sense.
No, you do 100%. Then the immediate follow-on question is, what? So you certify landlords or blocks of apartments or whatever it is as Osso Safe. How does that work legally? Because like from a legal point of view, yes, you've got a certified property, and if someone is abusing or attacking someone, you'll have the app to, but from a very specific legal point of view, how does
Yes.
it work?
Well, we always consult with a small team of lawyers on everything that we do. And so everything from the certifications, the package, the policy, everything has been proofread, if you will, and made enforceable by the small team of lawyers that we always consult with. So, and we were told, if you have in the policy a waiver and you have everyone know with full knowledge that this is what you are requiring of residents in order to live in an Osso Safe certified property,
Yeah.
then and you make everyone aware, then it is enforceable. in court, if you will. And also in New Jersey law, New Jersey statutes annotated, this is a portion of the grounds for eviction, if you will, NJSA 2A:18-61.1, I believe, and it states in there in section 2, I believe it's 2D, if a person, after written notice to cease, continues to violate or breach any of the rules and regulations of the landlord, provided that they have been accepted by the tenant or by the resident in writing, and that in governing said premises, then you have a right to evict that person. So as long as it is in writing or accepted as part of the lease at the beginning of the lease term. So this satisfies the requirement for residency and this would propagate over all states, I would say, in the United States and as well as abroad. So, and we make this a requirement, if you will, in residency. So I hope I answered the question as far as legal, as far as the and even the app, it takes away the he said, she said factor, because you have proof that you physically assaulted someone or sexually assaulted someone. And we do take into account privacy, obviously, but we say that you should not sacrifice safety for privacy. So I hope I answered the question.
You have, and from an app point of view, so how do you build that technology? You're saying that people, if someone is abusing violently in a house or in a residence, you'd be able to spot it. How do you use the technology to spot if someone is being violent?
It's a combination of artificial intelligence and facial recognition. I hired a software company and they design the app according to my specifications.
Okay.
So so it basically uses those two aspects of technology, if you will.
But so facial recognition and AI. So is it by motion? Is it by like if the phone's in my pocket and I'm, I don't know, punching someone, will it be able to spot that I'm being violent to someone, or how does the app recognize violence?
It matches your facial expressions with motion. So it's not going to pick up like, let's say, a ball rolling down the street or roughhouse. Like if you're kidding around with someone, your facial expression is one of not fear, not panic, not anxiety. If you're just kidding around with someone, so it's not going to pick up those.
Sorry to cut across you, but I'm just thinking from a very practical. So, is the app recognizing the aggressor or the person who's receiving?
Both.
And but if my phone's in my,
because it will pick up.
Go on, please carry on.
It will pick up the violent scene, if you will. Right now we have it where it's 30 seconds to a minute, and we realized that violent scenes can go longer than that, but this is where the improvements are being done. But it'll pick up the violent scenes, so the whole the perpetrator as well as the victim.
But if my phone's in my pocket, it's not going to be able to recognize facial recognition, is it? Whether I'm scared or on one side or aggressive on the other side.
Well, I mean, if it's in your pocket, it's like a whole scene, and this would be in residency. So So it's not the app is it is installed on the on an iPad, on a phone, on a tablet, but it does record like the common areas in the apartment or in the household. So it's not so much, you don't have to wear it on you,
Okay.
if you will, like to me, the example that you're giving is like if you're out and about, right? Oh, oh, salute.
um, so are we saying that there's cameras in your home? Is that how it's recognized?
Right, right,
Right.
right. Yeah, specific cameras in the common area of of the residence of the home. Yes, correct.
That
But this will have multiple applications, I have to say. For example, we will be shopping this around to, let's say, if you have a nanny taking care of a baby and you're at work, or an elderly person with a home health aide, or a pet sitter with your pet. So it will have multiple applications. Even as a real estate agent, I'm a real estate agent. We could apply this also when we show homes and we're alone with potential buyers that have bad intentions. Uh, so but the focus will be in residency, to make safety a required standard condition of residency, and to have the technology complement the education and the education complement the technology, if you will.
Yeah, and actually it makes a lot more sense if you've got cameras in each room, and the example that you gave with a nanny and a child, if something untoward happened there, it can make a lot of sense. And equally, a landlord maybe acting inappropriately, or even another resident acting inappropriately,
Right.
would pick up in that makes a lot of sense. I think that's in essence you're adding an extra layer of security and safety in people's homes,
Right.
that actually cameras can do but they don't have the smart app to be able to register. And if someone was violent in one of these homes, does it then flick to the police? Does it notify the police, or does it notify the landlord? Who does it notify?
Yes, this is some of the adjustments that we're making, where you could set it either way, either both or one or the other. These are some of the improvements that we are making to the app.
That's amazing. So I'm sorry to keep on going, because I'm a bit of a tech. I enjoy tech,
Oh,
so
yes,
this is why
it's okay.
the
Salute.
terms, I'm just trying to understand it from a very from a high level point of view. Okay, let's move on. So you did a TEDx talk. What did you speak about on TEDx?
Yes, I basically laid out the skeleton for my vision for residency, and to diminish and prevent violence in your home, at school, at work. And in these TEDx talks or TED talks, you cannot sell, right? That they make that very clear. You cannot sell anything. You cannot promote anything of your products or services. So I said to myself, well, how can I educate and lay out the foundation for what it is, the idea that I have, the vision for Osso Safe, without saying these are my products and services. So that's what I spoke about in the 14 minutes of my TEDx talk, the vision that I have for all of us, really. Like I mentioned, I grew up with violence, and life is hard enough as it is. No one should live with abuse, with violence, with chaos, with dysfunction. I don't care who you are. It
100%.
should not be a part of anyone's existence, period, over and out. Um, to even, I remember one podcaster, he said to me, Wow, Sabrina, I don't even know what that looks like. Fortunately, I lived in a great home. I did experience some bullying at school because of my nationality, but I can't even picture my dad attacking my mom or my mom attacking my dad or us because he had several siblings. And I thought to myself, yeah, that should be the norm. That needs to be the norm, not verbal, physical, sexual abuse, living in fear in your home, or and whatever it is, whether it be a townhouse, a co-op, a condo, a single family home, a multifamily dwelling, a two-family home, a villa, a mansion, a mobile home. I think I covered all types of residency, and I say it in that order in my TEDx talk. So that way I cover I wanted to be very inclusive to make sure that I included everyone, no matter where you live. That's how it should be. So in the TEDx talk, I felt very responsible to be inclusive and to lay out the foundation of the vision that we have at Osso Safe regarding residency and safety in that residency beyond, the heat, the hot water, the electricity, central air. All of that is secondary to safety.
I can empathize with that other podcaster, because I came from a relatively stable, happy background, but I am conscious of people that have suffered abuse from all types of backgrounds, and I would say what you're doing is incredible, because, as you say,
Thank you.
especially children, but not just children, can be women, can be men, people who are suffering from abuse, mental or physical abuse or sexual abuse, is just not acceptable. And there is no reason for that to be ever deemed acceptable. So I think what you're doing is a wonderful thing. I think it 100% should be supported. We should all get behind you to make that safe. For example, I'm in real estate as well. I'm in property as well, and I'm having conversation with someone at the moment about one of my houses being looked after for distressed families. So people, if they were being abused by, as an example, the father or the husband is abusing the wife and the children, to be able to have that capability for someone to use your home for a short time before they find their long-term home, using that. And that's something that I'm considering at the moment, because, as you say, these people are going through awful experiences and are not being supported enough by governments, by regulators, by state governments, and not doing enough to support those people. So I
I
100% support you on this.
Thank you. Thank you. I have to say, the legal aspect, like the courts, when I say legal, the courts, the judges, in the US, and I live in New Jersey, but I could say across the board, they make horrible matters even worse, especially for children, abused children. And I have personal and professional experience with this when I say even the child protective service agencies, I hate to say this, but it's the truth. They should rename themselves the child endangerment agencies. I came across a very disturbing statistic, and I didn't realize it till recently, but 5 children are murdered every day in the US at the hands of an abusive parent under the watch of a so-called child protective service agency, a lawyer, a mediator, a judge, a parent coordinator. Absolutely inexcusable, unacceptable in the States. And these are just the ones that are documented, 5 a day.
Yeah.
With Osso Safe certifications, the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home package, and we intend to have this really build momentum and to really take off on a national, local, national, and global level, you won't need the courts. What do you need the courts for? You resolve it right in residency. And as landlords, and I'm a landlord, I'm not a landlord here. I'm a landlord abroad, and I intend to bring this abroad. Right now, the way the laws are, it's you have 10 units. Well, you get stuck with the abusive family or the abuser and the rest of the family. And then all of your non-violent tenants leave, right? Because it affects everybody else, right? You hear yelling and screaming, the kids are crying, maybe things are being broken. You hear constant conflict. So you leave, right, as in unit 2A or in unit 3B, or and we're saying, why flip all of that? You should leave, the abuser. So that way we maintain property reputation, you mitigate liability, your tenants feel safe, you decrease vacancy rates. It's a win-win. And it's you, the abuser, that has to leave, not the other way around. So this is what we are, how we're marketing these products, to say, Mr. and Miss Landlord, this is a better way, and this should be the future of residency. And when I say future, I mean the immediate future, not years and years, because it's if anything that COVID has done on a positive, is to really shed light on the need for mental health,
Yes.
for safety in residency, for that you should feel like your home is your sanctuary and not a war zone.
Yeah.
And to make mental health a regular part of one's existence. So that's a positive that COVID did on a global level, I feel. So thank you for your positive feedback. I greatly appreciate that.
100%, and I hope I portrayed that in the interview. I'm just interested because it's a very niche type of business, and I just really want my audience to sort of understand where you're coming from as well as what you do. So thank you for sharing that with us and with me. So what's the sort of plan for the next 2 to 5 years? Where do you see Osso Safe going? International?
Absolutely. Absolutely. International. I see there are 3 levels to the Osso Safe certification, and once we do the education, then our logo, as you can see behind me, that will be put outside of the property. So we foresee that people recognize that logo and say, wow, I would rather live in an Osso Safe certified property versus one that isn't, because they have mechanisms and systems in place that if and when violence happens, we are safe, that we are held to a higher regard, a higher standard, as I mentioned earlier, and there is no violence, abuse, chaos, dysfunction that happens. And if it does, it's on a preventative, diminishing side. So yes, we see this across the globe, really. And also we are talking to real estate professionals. I'm an agent, and like I said, I'm a landlord. So we are speaking to people, to the National Association of Realtors, the New Jersey Association of Realtors, to get real estate agents on board where they're Osso Safe certified, because we come across, I'm sure you know, you're a real estate investor, Mark. So we come across buyers and sellers and landlords and tenants all day long. And agents can be instrumental in this whole equation. And we feel that when you sign your lease and you sign title to your property, that you become Osso Safe certified. Like I said, this is all on the preventative side, and this benefits everyone in each residence, as well as the neighbors,
Amazing.
all around. I mean, the statistics are very alarming, and we feel that, like, when people say a niche, I don't know, I feel like this is very common, unfortunately. So it's a yes, it is a specific market, but everyone's in real estate, right? Everyone's in real estate. Everyone is at a school at some point in their life, and then they go to work. So it's very applicable on multiple levels, for sure.
I 100% agree, and I hope I didn't offend you by calling it niche.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Uh,
You didn't offend me. No, not at all. I just like to point out certain things, uh and to just let people know that it's definitely applicable on multiple levels.
and I would encourage anyone who's listening that is a landlord and has tenants that they consider Osso Safe, because it gives the extra layer of support and sort of peace of mind that
Right.
what you're doing, that people are protected and are kept safe. Because sadly, you're right that it is a lot more common than some people would even like to even think about. So 100% support what you're doing there.
Thank you.
Look, we're coming to the end of the interview. I asked the same 6 questions to all of my guests. They're quick fire questions. They don't need a quick fire answer. They've been described a little bit as being thought provoking. This is all unprepared. So please do answer. First question is, what's the best decision that you made?
Becoming a dancer. I feel that has given me a lot of strength on multiple levels. So in taking rejection, and just being on, right? As a performer, you have to be on and really and really be in the moment. And so I think, growing up the way I did, I could have gone the route of, oh, why pursue it? I didn't start when I was 5 years old, 3 years old. Why even bother? I'm glad I took the bull by the horns, so to speak, and I gave him my all. Yeah, so
Awesome.
that.
Awesome. What's the best piece of advice you've been given?
I had a ballet teacher once say, take what you need and discard the rest. And she said that after giving me, she was talking to me, advising me, and I never heard anyone say that to me. So it just made me think, not everyone is going to have the answers. So take what you need and then do away with what you don't need. So yeah, so she said that to me. She's a wonderful human being, and I remember that quite a bit, and to just, I say this because, like, you look for answers and you want someone to reach out to someone to say, oh, and hold them to their every word. Not everyone is going to have the answers 100%. So take what you need and discard the rest.
Brilliant. Thank you. Who helped you most in your career?
My longtime boyfriend. He's been with me through thick and thin, thin and thick. He has supported me through everything, through so much, and he's the opposite of my father. And considering where I came from, my therapist even said, it's amazing that you have someone like that, because usually you repeat the pattern, and I didn't. I mean, when I was dating, and you meet people, and but he's been my rock.
Amazing. Amazing. Do you have any regrets?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I never understood people who say that they don't, because there are things that you only get one shot in life. And if you make mistakes on that, then that's it. So I definitely have them. Did you want me to say one
Uh,
of them?
it's up to you. If you want to share one of them with me, you can. If you don't want to, it's equally fine.
Yeah, I mean, one is uh I I never had children, and I'm hoping that I still can. Um and it all had to do with my upbringing. I was very much against it, and because of how I grew up. And so, and I regret not having them. I'm hoping that I still can, but and I wish I did earlier. So that is one, yeah, one regret for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your honesty. I really appreciate that. Some people don't want to share their regrets, so I really appreciate you being so honest and frank with me.
Thank you.
What are you most proud of?
Oh, so safe. Oh, so safe, and my dancing, and I incorporate my dancing in Oh So Safe, especially when I go to schools and universities, and that's been kind of frozen because of COVID. But I incorporate the dancing to convey the message to students of all ages. But I'm proud of Oh So Safe. I'm proud of the concept and what we've done so far, and getting it out there, and that such a company and the products and services exist, because I feel that it's fundamental. It's much needed.
Absolutely, 100% agree. And lastly, what does legacy mean to you?
Uh Creating a lot of good and having others continue that good.
Really nice. Thank you. And lastly, if people want to reach out to you, where can people find you?
Uh, our website, ososafe.com. We're on all the social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. And my direct email is sabrina@ososafe.com. That would be the best way.
Thank you so much, Sabrina, for your time today. It's been fascinating, and I 100% support an important area of business. So well done, and just keep going. You're doing something really valuable and meaningful.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you for allowing me to be on this platform, on your podcast, Absolute Business Mindset. We really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thanks a lot.